Alexandria, Egypt. The year is 2022. For a young woman named Noura, life along the Mediterranean coast was ordinary, filled with the familiar rhythms of family, friends, and daily routines. Her days were bright, her future promising. But as the seasons changed, a subtle, unsettling shift began, a shadow creeping into the corners of her world. It started small, almost unnoticeably, a sudden quietness, a vacant stare, moments of confusion that would pass as quickly as they came. Her family brushed it off as stress, the pressures of modern life. But then the nights began to change. Sleep, once a peaceful escape, became a battleground. Noura started waking up screaming, drenched in sweat, talking of terrifying figures that lingered in her room long after she was awake. Her family would find her huddled in a corner, her eyes wide with a fear they couldn't comprehend. These night terrors soon bled into the daylight hours. Her personality, once gentle and warm, became volatile and unpredictable. Moments of calm would shatter into fits of rage, directed at loved ones, her voice twisting into something unrecognizable. She spoke of things she couldn't possibly know, in languages she had never learned. Concern turned to alarm, and Noura was admitted to a local hospital. The sterile, brightly lit hallways stood in stark contrast to the darkness that seemed to be consuming her. Doctors, suspecting a neurological disorder, began a battery of tests. Brain scans, EEGs, blood work. They searched for any anomaly, any tumor, any chemical imbalance that could explain her terrifying transformation. Days turned into weeks. The test results came back, one after another, all perfectly normal. Medically, Noura was the picture of health. Yet, her condition worsened. She would thrash in her hospital bed with a strength that defied her small frame, shouting words that made the seasoned medical staff recoil. The doctors were baffled, their scientific framework offering no answers. They had reached the limits of their understanding. With modern medicine at a dead end, Noura's desperate family turned to their faith, a path trod for centuries. They reached out to respected Islamic scholars, men well versed in spiritual afflictions. The hospital, in an unusual but compassionate move, agreed to let the spiritual healers work alongside them. The clinical setting of the hospital room transformed. Doctors monitored Noura's vital signs on humming machines, while the scholars began their recitations from the Quran. The air grew thick with tension. The rhythmic ancient verses filled the room, a stark counterpoint to the sterile beeping of the medical equipment. During these sessions, Noura's reactions were extreme. She writhed and screamed, her body contorting as the scholars prayed over her. The medical staff watched, their skepticism challenged by what they were witnessing. Her heart rate would spike to dangerous levels, her blood pressure fluctuating wildly, all in direct response to the recitation of specific verses. It was a bizarre, unsettling fusion of two worlds, the empirical data of science and the intangible power of faith, both playing out in real time on the monitors and in the tormented movements of the young woman before them. The scholars were steadfast, continuing their prayers day after day, believing they were in a spiritual battle for Noura's soul. This intense period of combined medical and spiritual intervention lasted for several days. The hospital room became a strange theater of conflict, where science and spirituality clashed and converged over the fate of one person. The family held on to hope, praying alongside the scholars, while the doctors documented every physiological change, building a medical file unlike any they had ever seen. The emotional and physical toll on everyone involved was immense. The question hung in the air, unspoken but felt by all. What was truly happening to Noura? Was this a rare, undocumented psychosis? Or were they witnessing something that lay beyond the realm of scientific explanation? The answer, it seemed, was just as elusive as a cure. Then, one morning, as abruptly as it had all begun, it stopped. Noura awoke, calm and lucid. The exhaustion was clear on her face, but the fear, the rage, the tormented, was gone. She looked at her family with her own eyes, her own gentle spirit seemingly restored. She had no memory of the preceding weeks, a black hole in her life's story. Her recovery was as sudden and inexplicable as her illness. The doctors ran their tests one final time. Again, everything was normal. They discharged her with a file full of data, but no diagnosis, no definitive conclusion. Noura returned home, back to the life that had been so violently interrupted. To this day, her case remains a profound mystery in Alexandria. For the medical professionals, it is an unsolved puzzle, a collection of symptoms without a cause, a testament to the vast, uncharted territories of the human mind. For her family and the spiritual healers, The answer is clear. It was a successful exorcism, a triumph of faith over a malevolent entity. Noura's story leaves us teetering on the edge of our understanding, caught between the world we can measure and the world we can only feel. Was it a complex psychiatric breakdown, or a genuine case of spiritual possession, science or the supernatural? The question remains, a haunting echo in the quiet streets of Alexandria. Thanks for watching.